Hey, is this thing's on? Okay, cool. Well, welcome, folks, to another episode of the Sawdust Nation Podcast. It feels like just last week I was in Disney. We have a special guest for you today, and that is Matt Voeltner from @Voeltner Woodworking. What's going on, sir?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
You got all formal.
Yeah, I know. It was going good,
Sir, yes, sir.
Yeah, yes, sir. Proceeding, sir. But hey, we got a lot of stuff to go through today's episode. We got a lot of questions for Matt. We have a lot of questions from our IG folks. So let's get kind of right into it here. Matt, so before we get into what's going on in our shop, I just thought it'd be kind of weird if I didn't ask you this first. What got you into making woodworking and all those things?
So my dad, he's a frugal man. And so he made everything at the house. And, everything. Trim, cabinets, and his own desk and all that. So I just grew up kind of around that. And he would lock his workshop up and I'd sneak out there when he was gone and then do stuff and then throw sawdust back on it. And, pretend like I didn't use it. And but then kind of as I got older, I started just, hanging around and getting used to all that. And then when I got married, my wife and I were walking through a store and she wanted to buy this TV console thing. And I said, "Oh, I can make that." And she was like, "Yeah, no, I think we should just buy it." I said, "You kidding me? This thing's like $400. I said, "I can make it for like half that." So I went out and bought like $200 worth of material and about $1,200 worth of equipment. And and then I made this awesome table, and so she actually liked it, and we had it our TV on it for a long time. But so then it's just I posted on Facebook and it started kind of taking off, and I've been loving it. It's been fun.
How long ago was that?
We've been married for 12 years, so it's probably 11 years ago, I would say.
Wow.
Is when I did like one of my first, bigger projects. Facebook was like brand new. You needed like an invite. So very niche. I remember that. Very niche market I was marketing to. But I didn't know it was going to be a business.
Okay.
So when did you become a business, out of curiosity? How long afterwards?
I was doing a couple projects here and there, mostly just around the house. And in 2015, I had a friend reach out and they wanted like this kitchen island thing made. And I didn't say no to anything, right? I was like, I'll try anything, right? And I don't know if that's just like pride or, stupidity. Probably a little both. And so, I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And then she's like, cool. I want like a maple butcher block top to it. And I was like, cool. Google maple butcher block, how to make maple. And all I had was a radial arm saw. So that was pretty sketchy. Trying to cut 4-foot strips of maple, hard maple on that. So I posted it and took some photos and stuff like that. Everybody loved it. And then long answer, but in 2015, so about a little around the same time, somebody was like, hit me up on Facebook and said, "Hey, can you do a built-in?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can." And pretty intricate thing for somebody who's never done a built-in. And I was like, "Oh, I probably need like a business name." So since 2015, I just put Voeltner Woodworking on an invoice through PayPal or something, and that's what started the business name.
Okay, so for those that are ignorant, what is a built-in? Help me.
So these houses that have just like this niche that like it looks very awkward. Looks like, should there be a closet there? Should there just be whatever?
Okay, I got you.
Some say niche, right? You have to put your pinky up when you say that. But so it's just like these little weird alcoves, and people put desks or bookshelves or whatever in it. And so I started doing those like crazy. That was my niche. And so, I probably did a couple dozen of them, I would think. And I was really enjoying it. So I did woodworking backwards, right? Most people start off with cutting boards, small stuff. I started off with the big stuff, and I didn't make my first cutting board till like 2019, 2018. No, it's 2019. Yeah.
Oh well,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
that's impressive.
I'd be too intimidated to just like right off the road, right off the rip, walk into someone's house and just start messing their stuff up. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna cut into this wall.
I had a really a pretty good process. I would build I would measure everything out, and so if it's 4 feet wide, I would build everything to 3 foot 11 and a CH. So I would get it pretty close, and then I'd build everything, I'd finish it all, and then I'd bring it in, I'd slide it into the niche, and then I would do the trim when I got there. And so I didn't, I kind of did that for the first one. That's where I really learned, like, okay, what to do, what not to do. On the second one, it was like install was a breeze. It was great.
That's awesome.
So that way I don't spend a bunch of time, at the customer's house. And actually, I was installing that. They were getting ready for a Christmas party that night. So I was like sweeping when people were walking in with like gifts and stuff,
Oh, wow.
like sweeping up. My tools are all out in their front yard.
Don't mind the dust, guys.
Yeah. Anybody eating those shrimp?
Don't talk to the help. No, I'm sorry.
Right.
So you got into woodworking way earlier on, and then as you've progressed, have you dabbled in anything else but wood? Maybe like acrylic, metal, anything like that?
So I try to stay away from doing metal. I leave that for people who are good with a welder. I've tried it, and it's, I don't know, something about, I'm blind when those things are, that the mask is on. So I've tried other stuff. I would say probably the only other medium that I use is, different sign materials for like using the CNC. So HDU, and that type of thing. But mostly I use wood.
Well, what's your favorite wood?
I feel like the cop out answer is always walnut. Right. So I like the look of ash. Ash is probably one of my favorite. It's just got tons of character. And if a close second would be pecan. So probably walnut, ash, pecan.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love ash with character as
Nice
well.
piece of ash. Yeah.
That's right.
That's it.
Big old naughty. Never mind. Keep going.
All right. So from your start to now, done a bunch of stuff. What do you got going on in the shop now?
A few months ago, I posted a shop tour, and everybody shows their shop tours, and they look awesome, and they just make you sit there with like envy. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go out there and like open up my drawers and show everybody the mess. Right? Whoa.
That's a bold statement.
Yeah, that's right. 6-inch joiner. So I was like, let me post a YouTube video, see if anybody enjoys that. So it did okay. And then I visited a couple other shops, visited Mike, Veteran Wood Co., Bow, got a couple other tours coming up. So I'm going around looking at other people's shops to figure out how I can organize my shop better. And so that has spawned like radical change in the shop. And I sold my saw and I replaced it. And so it's sitting out there in a box right now. I got to unbox it. So I'm redoing the entire shop. So right now, not a lot on the project front, but the shop will look totally different than it did last month.
Do you have like a flooring down it's in your garage, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. So the way that my garage is set up is like 2 cars and then like a third car, like step up in the back. You couldn't park a car in there, but it's the equivalent of a 3 car, I guess. But so it's got a step up there. It's got a bathroom in there that was already framed out when we moved here. So it's a detached garage. And then, so it's got a bathroom, and then that's like, that whole area is kind of where I do most of my woodworking, is on that little step up. And the flooring is horse mats. So I have 3/4 inch horse mats. And so if I drop a tool or whatever, it doesn't break, just bounces.
Kind of bounces.
Yeah.
That's what I used to have in my shop in Jersey.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be nice for like my back because I'm old, and that it didn't do anything for that. But it does do, like when you drop stuff, that's nice.
Especially if it's a chisel and you don't have to resharpen the darn thing.
You're supposed to sharpen chisels.
Mm.
You just get new ones, right? That's what I tell my wife.
That's how Lee Nielsen stays in business. Anyway.
Hey, honey, my chisel's dull. I have to go buy another one now.
I'm going to spend $500 on a new set.
No, I just got the Spec Ops chisels, so I was able to throw out. Yeah, the other one, my old chisels are down in the bottom drawer now. Because you don't throw things away; you just acquire new stuff.
No, well, old chisels are great for prying stuff up,
right?
Like all the other stuff,
all the things you're not supposed to do with chisels.
Right. Yes, I have. Yeah,
I feel if I died and somebody was going through my stuff, they would be able to like see the history because like all the old stuff on the bottom, they're like, "What is this?" Peel the cobwebs off my old Bosch sander and like, oh wow.
Do you ever sell any of your old tools?
I
Obviously,
recently
you sold your table saw, but
sold the table saw. Like big stuff, yeah. Smaller stuff, I just at one point I wanted to like make money on everything, so I would have garage sales, and I hate garage sales. And then I would sell on Facebook Marketplace, and you got to hassle with them and say vende and blah blah blah, and you're like, no. So I just like forget it. I'm just gonna. I just recently donated some tools. There was a maker who lost, like his stuff was stolen or something out of his shop. I don't know the full story. I just like, hey, I've got some stuff. I'll box it up and send it your way. So I just sent it his way. To me, it's not worth the hassle. Like if there's a one-stop shop option, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah,
I guess it comes down to like the price of the tool. If it's something that's like, I'm not going to be giving away a drum sander or anything, but.
Well, if you are,
right.
Someone needs a new one. So what's next? You got the table saw. What's the next upgrade for your shop? You said you're redoing the whole thing. So what's next?
Well, I just got my taxes done today and realized that I have to pay $4,000. So that's gonna eat into the tool budget for a little bit of time. But when I get a chance, I think the next purchase is going to be a new bandsaw. Right now, I've got the 10-inch Craftsman, benchtop kind of one on the stand. It's okay, but I have tool envy anytime I see these guys with the Laguna 14, 18, whatever, and they're just rips on. Like I'm like, oh, just
send it to me.
Yeah.
Well. What I took from that statement is you're profitable. So that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah. So a lot of people, this is my hobby job. So my full-time job supports my addictions. And so that's a blessing and a curse, right? Because you go to work and you dream about the shop, and then by the time you get home, you're too tired from work to go out in the shop. But it does definitely support it supports my tool habit.
Oh, that definitely helps a little bit.
Yeah.
Since we were just hitting on chisels, we do have a question from our Patreons. Web Design Victor, he would like to know from all of us, what is a good, affordable chisel in our opinions? So if you want to go first there, Matt.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, so I think, Spec Ops is not like, they're great. They're great chisels. They're not the bottom of you're not going to walk into a store and get that brand. They're somewhere kind of like in the middle, right? They're not like the premium line. Mm-hmm. So it depends on what affordable means. I think they're affordable personally, and they're decent quality, that good grip and everything.
Yeah, if they cut good, that's all that matters, right? Mm-hmm. Good edge. Matt?
I don't have good chisels. Okay, so when we talk about affordable, my version of affordable is I went to Lowe's and I said, oh, those look cool. Grab those, and that's what I use.
At least you didn't go Harbor Freight. I thought you were going Harbor Freight.
Oh, okay. So
hey, you bite your tongue.
I gotta admit, okay, I did start with a Harbor Freight and realized those weren't cutting it. So
So-
then I went with those.
who's
You moved
who
up.
started with Harbor
I
Freight?
did.
I'm raising my hand.
There's nothing wrong with Harbor Freight. I mean,
Not at all.
But Harbor Freight is known, okay, for some tools that don't go together properly at times, and then
Sometimes, yeah. Depends what you buy. It's a hit or miss. But you know what? If that's what you can afford and you make do with it, good on you. You know, if you could buy better chisels, buy better chisels. Like, I know what Nick's going to say, and I'm not going to buy those chisels. Go ahead, Nick.
I think Stanley makes some really good affordable chisels that you can, they got
Not
Sheffield.
what I expected.
Well, they got. He asked what chisels. He's not saying what's the best chisels. The question was, what are the chisels are the best for the money, and are most affordable? And I do really think that Stanley makes a solid product, and they're affordable.
Yeah.
So that's my answer.
I agree with
Sheffield Steel.
So I got the Sweethearts, Stanley Sweetheart chisels, and those are not that expensive. I would say they're about middle of the road, and they have a great edge, and they've done me well. I honestly, if you could put edge in anything, how long it lasts, that's your issue.
That's true, and it also depends. So the type of steel is a big deal as well. So if you look before you buy, and it's not that Chinesium, like the stuff at the Home Depot or really wherever, that stuff is gonna you can sharpen it until the cows come home. It'll be sharp all of 10 seconds. I've had that problem, and then you start getting tear out, and it's not worth it anymore. So, Josh, you have a great set of chisels.
Thank you. I know you like them.
yeah,
he said you're well chiseled.
Thank you.
Yeah, very well chiseled.
Yeah, we're just gonna say that my chisels are not in the best of shape. I don't.
His went through the Great War.
Yeah, they did literally. they look like they've seen some better days.
I thought that chisels originally were to scrape glue. So that's what I thought chisels were for when I first. So
Right there.
So if the Harbor Freight ones, if that's what you're shooting for, the Harbor Freight ones are perfect for that.
You asked my wife; she thought they were for opening paint cans.
But all right, let's roll around to what's going on in Josh's shop, and then we'll hit the rest of the interview after we go through the rest of the shops.
Oh, okay. Let's see. What do we have going on in my shop? So I already in the live mentioned I sent a product to California. It was a plaque. A customer came up and was like, "Hey," reached out through Etsy and said, "Can you make this?" And it was a Tech Sergeant stripe with a skull and crossbones in the center, so the star, and then the biohazards on the corner. And I'm like, "Yeah, that's a really cool idea." And we made it happen, got it to him. It was a quick turnaround, but I was very lucky that the mail actually worked in my favor. It hasn't for all of us, and I consider myself very lucky for that. What else do we got going on? Gonna get a order for 3 more hammers, 2-foot kind. I'll be knocking those out. Finishing up the shadow box for the Marine E8. That's actually coming out very nicely. I got some of it carving right now. That way I can get that knocked out. I'm doing an order for 100 coins back and front cherry. And right now I got the fronts pretty good. I got to clean them up. I got to do the backs. So the Glowforge has basically been running nonstop. This is where I really need to get a better laser. What would take Naps or Nick's laser, I don't know, probably half the time 2 hours, is taking mine 4. And it's gnawing at me really bad. Because it's time. Time is money. I'm spending a lot of time waiting for the Glowforge to finish. Because I got this knocked out. It's an early deadline. So, I'm doing the best I can. And I wanted, mistake maybe on my part, is I wanted to make these a little thicker. So they're like a 1/4 inch thick, maybe, 1/4 inch thick ish. Because the whole purpose behind these coins is for the Army's putting on a region march. And basically anyone that does this 18-mile march with like a 25-pound pack on their back, or maybe a little bit more, gets one of these coins. And there's over 80 people actually doing this march. And it's like a momentum for doing it. So they're relying on me to get this knocked out and I'm there on time. So I'm doing everything I can in my power to make sure that happens. Moving on to other projects, I do have another shuttle box I am doing. It's just going to be a basic square one, but I think I'm going to try to, beef it up a little bit. It's for a friend I worked with for a number of years. And they came to me and I'm like, yeah, absolutely do it. And I think I'm going to give them a little something extra. And then, the Ravens came back to me and asked me to increase the order a little bit. Got the estimate back out, waiting to hear back from them, get that approval. And then once I get the coins for the Army complete, I'll be doing more estimates for at least anywhere between 4 to 5 projects. And one is going to be a fairly large one. So easy there, Nap.
No, I'm laughing because we'll just say someone within the community, Brent, is bombing the messages right now with something and just made me laugh. Leave it to him.
Of course. He always leaves a great comment. But long story short, project wise, I'm pretty busy in the shop. A lot of the stuff is due the 7th. So I am up against a pretty close deadline. But we're going to make it happen. It's just one of those things. That's what we do, right? I've been out of the shop here and there for a couple of different reasons. And because of that, I'm kind of behind on some of the projects that I was hoping to be ahead of schedule. But with all that, I did get a new tool. Nothing too crazy, not a Sawdust for sure. But I got the Ryobi 23 gauge airless nail pinner. I used it today for the first time. I got the adapter that allows the DeWalt batteries to go in there.
Ooh.
And I don't have to buy a whole new set of batteries. I already have the DeWalt line, so it's easy. And I tell you, it's pretty cool. Ryobi has come a long way with their tools. And I was kind of hesitant to get this because I've used their tools in the past and it didn't really hold up well. But this thing's solid. I took 1 3/8 pin and went through walnut and cherry like nothing, flush. When the battery starts dying, it starts flashing because there's a flashlight in the tip too. And it starts flashing to let you know the battery's dying. So when you're pinning nails, it won't, mess up your project. But there's a whole list of features this thing has that, I'm kind of glad I went with them because with the whole entire setup, it was under $200. So
heck yeah.
If you're looking for airless nail pinner, go ahead and utilize that. I got mine through Home Depot. And I got the adapter online, and I can send you both links if you like. Yeah, and I have some side projects going on in there too. I'm still working on my son's desk. Right now, I have too many projects due on the 7th to worry about any kind of self-made projects. But so I'm just busy, and then between work and that, it's you sleep when you can and do projects every other time. So
4 hours of sleep, and then you're back up doing it again.
I am going to give a shout out to my wife. Last night, she knew I needed sleep, and she actually stayed up with the laser while I went to bed.
That's marriage.
And she ran it during the day when I was at work. So that
employee of the month.
Going. So
that's all I'm saying.
That was huge. We've all stayed up into the night to try to get these projects done. And for someone to take that night shift, really thankful for having her on my side.
You should make her a plaque with her picture on it. It says employee of the month.
But you should have her watch over it while it engraves at night.
Have her make it for her.
Hey, what you do is you tell her something's running right now, and you just have her wait, and then as it's like progressing, then her name is at the bottom. It's an employee of the month, and
I think she's gonna take it out, and she's gonna be like, "Really?
She'll beat me with it." Yeah, that's my shop in a nutshell. I'll just have a lot going on, tight deadlines, and trying to make it happen like always. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to Nap. See what you got going on, man.
Well, I have a lot. I officially, no BS, and I know we make jokes about this all the time, but I put it out there on Facebook. It's Facebook official. I'm done taking jobs, period, dot. It really is the thing, because I actually have more on this list than I kind of bargained for in the month of April. But a lot of this stuff I've made before, so there's going to be no tinkering. There's going to be no if I do this, will it do this? No, I know my processes for all these projects. So where it used to take me a week to do some of these things, it's going to take me 2 to 3, and then some of the bigger projects maybe 4 days to make. So that's kind of my saving grace here. I had one person, and this was kind of the final straw, was someone tried to hit me up for a custom job. I was like, I can't do it. I just can't. Like, you want this big custom job, and I told you I'm busy, but you want this like next week. Sorry, that's not going to happen. So I finally said, you know what? I'm done. Making the goal I had was to pay my Winfinity off before I leave here, because it would be really awesome to get to my next duty station, not having to worry about paying off a machine with possibly not a lot of orders coming in, because, when you're moving, you're not doing any work in the shop. So that goal is in the near future here, once I complete all of these jobs all the way through the second week of May. So I'm pretty excited about that. And on that, with the jobs, I have a hat stand, which I've literally got all the pieces cut out. I got the rings and the puck where the hat sits all painted. Wait for it all to dry and cure overnight, because spray paint, if you mess with it too much, well, you know what happens when you mess with spray paint. It just pisses you off, for lack of better terms, and then you have to redo it. And then I got, 2 hat presses I'm making. Again, those are stuff I've made before. You all have seen those. Two different squadrons, one's cherry, one's walnut. I got a flag that I'm making right now, similar to one I've posted up on my Instagram, cherry, walnut, and maple. Attaching a guidon onto it, putting like a little hangers for like a little sign to go between the bottom of the flag and the guidon. That was a last minute ad. I was like, do you want me to fight you? Because I know the guy personally that ordered it. I was like, do you want me to fight you right now? Like, you're lucky I haven't like finished like assembling things, because that would not be possible. But then, so those are the 2 things, the hat stand and the flag. Those are due. One's due Thursday, one's due Friday. I actually did a cup engraving for AJ over Crafted NJ. He asked me to make a, what is it? It's Police Department, City of New York, so NYPD. Funny thing about lasers, though, is when you're doing your laser work, you should make sure there's only 1 pass and not 2 passes, because it decided to go on a mind of its own, went on a second pass and screwed just the letter A up as I caught it. And, well, Yeti cups aren't cheap. And I go, yeah. So I screwed up. I told him, hey, I screwed this up. Got to go buy another one. And him being the cool dude that he is was like, do you want me to throw you some more money for it? I was like, no, that's my mess up. I'm going to own that. I'm going to go buy a new one, and I'm going to remake it. So I appreciate you, AJ, for trying to give me more money, but no, I made that mess up, because we all own our own mess
You can
up.
just tell him to send it here.
Yeah, right. And on the subject of tumblers, biggest order of tumblers I've gotten is due at the end of the month. 21 tumblers. They're not Yetis. They're not Arctics. They're actually Polar Camel, which is a pretty decent tumbler. I got a pack of 24 on the way.
The ones that our sponsor, PWN CNC, uses.
Yes. And those will actually be here tomorrow. Already shipped on the UPS truck right now. So that's pretty awesome. And along with that, and then doing a similar job to what Josh is doing, except making medallion-looking stripes out of cherry. It's going to be chief stripes. So these are for 21 lucky senior master sergeants that made the next rank, the highest rank for chief master sergeant. And I've become what's called a trusted agent. I have a list of names and a list of numbers that no one can see except me. It's like I have all the power for once, but not really. So those will all be turned out by the end of the month, which really I'm going to get them done this weekend, because the tumblers will arrive tomorrow. So why not have the laser running while I'm building other stuff? Use my time wisely. So that's all of that. Oh, and then a Senior Master Sergeant Shadow Box, which will be the Winfinity's debut. That'll be the very first carve I make, is the facade for that Shadow Box, because the member that is getting this is a TAC-P, which is a Special Forces career field within the Air Force. And, well, he's got quite the ribbon rack and has quite the accolades. So we got a lot to put in that box, so I got to make sure it's big enough. But that's what we got going on in the near future. And then next month's another story. So when I finish these jobs, which I'm hoping to be done by next week, Friday at the latest, I'll start all of the other jobs I got to do that are being paid for. Now, there's one job that is very special to me because one of my old students who was a class leader in NCOA, or Non-Commissioned Officer Academy, he reached out to me and said, hey, man, I know you do a lot of good work. Can you possibly make something for a charity? I was like, sure. I've only made one of those things this year, and I typically do a few things for charity just because, well, why not? So for the Military Firefighter Heritage Foundation, I'm making, I've already carved it out. It's been on the story. It's a mahogany emblem, if you will, 11 by 11, and I'm going to frame it and put it on a maple backer and put a walnut frame around it, and then put a little placard with the foundation's name and year on it, and that'll be going out, probably next week, Monday. So that's going to be pretty cool. I like seeing those things go out. The other one I sent out was a flag I made to an elementary school. They're raising funds for their sports program. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, that's what's going on in the shop, guys. Got a lot going on. Trying to buy a house in North Dakota from here is not easy. Just want to put that out there. Learning a lot in that process. And selling this house, learning a lot in that process. But yeah, so that's what I got going on in the shop. That's what's going on in Nap's world. Nick, what's up, man? What you got?
Well, that's a lot. I'm surrounded, though, with work as well. I've got a ton of shadow boxes to do. I'm almost finished with my very first ever Marine Corps shadow box. And, it's turning out okay. I'm trying to get with the customer on some things because they showed me a design and then they asked me if I could add an extra, like the original design had a flag up in the top left-hand corner, which is an American flag folded. And then the top right-hand corner was nothing. And then there was a bunch of uniforms. Well, it kind of threw off the entire design when they asked me to put a flag up in the right-hand corner, which would be the Marine Corps flag. So I'm over here like, hey, guys, what do you want me to do with this? Because it's not going to look right if I do it the way the picture has it, because you're cutting off a lot of stuff. So I'm still waiting on some guidance on that. I've got the regular normal order workload. Most of my most of my customers have ordered like weeks in advance. So thank goodness for that. That's always, I don't like to rush, man. I really hate rushing. Other than that, though, I had a consultation with Avid CNC. I've been, I got priced or quoted for a 5x5 CNC machine. Everything is on that invoice. All I have to do is pay it once the funding comes through. But everything's minus the spindle. So I'm sourcing the spindle separate. I'm going to get one from, I think, what website is that?
Might be some good content if you just like duct tape a router on it.
Yeah. That would be.
Hey, watch
that
this
would be
ATC work.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I have it's gonna have an ATC, so I'm going for the 8-bit ATC. So this way I can really just leave all my bits attached to the machine and never have to worry about changing out a spindle or changing out the bit ever again, unless I'm doing something extremely different,
Or if you break it in trial and error,
nice.
when you start getting aggressive with your cuts.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
maybe
going
not.
to.
Maybe not start with the 1/8 bits.
I'm gonna go. I want to go super aggressive because I want to be able to cut through cherry in like 2-3 passes. That 3/4 inch cherry, no problem. Just wah wah wah, completely done.
How'd that go?
Wah wah wah. Anyway,
Sounds like it's binding.
Yeah, right.
yeah. So on top of that, I've been getting a lot of like last minute orders for small things, very small plaques. And so the same unit hit me up 2 days in a row. The first day I was like, okay, cool. They're like, can we get it by Friday? I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I've got like 4 days to get it there. I can make it tonight real quick, put some finish on it, pack it up, have it good to go, send it. And then, so I did that. The next day, they're like, hey, man, another person from the unit ordered 2 more from me. I was like, come on, guys, this is getting ridiculous now. Like, now I have like 3 days to get it there. Unless you're going to pay for overnight shipping, which I don't think you want to do because it's so ridiculous.
Rush fee.
Anyway.
Smack.
Oh, yeah, I cracked him in the coyones real good with that rush fee, let me tell you. Because anything due within like 5 days is I got to drop everything else.
That's a lot.
Or at least work around it. Yeah. So.
Well, good thing you got 2 CNCs running, huh?
No. I don't have 2 CNCs running. I sold one to Kumo, remember?
Oh, that's right.
I'm in the process of
breaking that down. That's right.
I'm breaking it down.
I poured some salt in the wound. You had to go down to 1 so you can get that big old machine.
Well, the whole goal here is to create space. So I'm reducing my footprint in the shop where the CNC would go. And eventually, after I get the Avid, I will get rid of the other X-Carve as well. Because, when you got steak, why go out for hamburger, baby? I'm just saying.
What are you trying to say? You trying to say my Shapoko and Winfinity's hamburger? Come on now.
No, I'm saying I have an X-Carve 1,000 millimeter consumer edition and I'm upgrading. So
look at Josh. He's like, oh, thanks, dude.
Josh. Hey guys, what you talking about?
I'm here.
No, I honestly, both of my X-Carves are extremely heavily upgraded. So they're more high performance than you would get off the shelf, or at least in the mail. But, I'm glad Kumo is getting my original, the OG X-Carve. It's a little bit, has some sentimental value to it. And I don't know if I covered this last podcast or not, but he's, I hope it helps his business grow. And I hope he does the same thing and sells it to somebody who's going to appreciate it. Because I babied that thing. I made that thing. I customized it. I did all the good stuff to it. I treated her right, made sure her brushes were changed. And I would.
Yeah, you did.
As he's choking now. She's choking up a little bit, folks.
I always made sure to surface her just right. Anyway, yeah, man, that's all I really got going on in the shop. Tonight's kind of a wash. I got to make some stuff for my kids' fiesta party tomorrow at school. I don't know if anybody knows what fiesta is. If you're from like the San Antonio area, I don't even know if it's just like a Texas thing or not, but it's just a giant party.
It's not a Houston thing. It must be San Antonio.
Yeah, it's probably just a San Antonio thing. But so they actually Friday, believe it or not, all the schools are off. The daycares are closed. It's legitimately it's like even more so than a national holiday around here because people just stop doing what they're doing and party. Wow. So anyway, yeah, that's all I got. So we got more questions, don't we?
Or stuff? Got a few more questions for Matt. And some of these might be short, simple, sweet answers. Either way. So you got the CNC, and we know you have a 3D printer because you got those clip-its. Other than those two, would you say are the most used tool? What's the most used tool in your shop right now? Your go-to?
Well, it's not the table saw right at the moment,
but it will be.
It will be. That will definitely be the most used. So yeah, other than table saw, laser. So I've got a full spectrum Muse laser. It's kind of like the Glowforge, which is nice. It's 12 by 20, I think, or 12 by 24, something like that. 45 watt laser. So it's nice for cutting out templates and things like that. Yeah. So I use that for product packaging, design, things like that too.
How many 3D printers you got?
I just have the one. So the clips that I'm sending out now, I had those done. It's called multi-jet fusion. So I have them made. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it is. So basically what happens is they put down a powder and then there's basically two axes going on. So it'll lay down powder and then it comes over and it uses light to seal that layer, and then another layer of powder and then light to seal it. So I had those made. I ordered a big, a bulk order. It's not so, and I'm pricing out right now to get. Well, actually, I just got a price for getting them outsourced via injection molding. So basically, it's good for prototyping and stuff. And then, I am doing the contractor ones right now, still on the 3D printer, because those aren't selling as much as the number 2 ones.
All right, so you got this clip-it thing, right? And we're skipping down a couple. What was the motivation behind the clip-it pen/pencil holder? I mean, was it just a necessity? Was it what's the deal?
Yeah, I mean, so like most people, you see them. They have like the pencil stuck up in the hat and stuff. So that's what I would do. I'd stick the pencil up in my hat, and then like just find that it just gets super annoying. It starts, just being uncomfortable, and or you take your hat off or whatever, you put a mask on, whatever. So then I was like, there's got to be a way for me to. I had just gotten the 3D printer. I was going to print a dust boot for the CNC, and I was like, yeah, I probably could come up with something. So I just designed something, and I went through several iterations of it just to kind of get it dialed in the way I wanted. And like an idiot, I didn't even go to look online for ones that are anything similar. But there are some other designs that are out there, none like this version. So that's why I was like, it was taken off. I'm like, I think I need to pursue this thing. So I've filed for patent, and we'll see where it goes.
See, I was thinking,
cool.
like, I like the hat story. I was almost thinking it's kind of like the tape measure thing. The tape measure gnomes come around and steal your tape measure, and you can't find it, even if you got like 5 or 6 of them. Like, I bought a whole box of pencils, and half of them are gone. I can't find them.
Yeah.
I don't know where they went.
What's funny is like, you get used to having like your wallet, in one pocket, or like your phone in one pocket, and then you go to reach for it and it's not there. You're like, what? Where is it? Well, I find myself if I'm wearing a hat, and I need a pencil or a pen or something to like sign something, I always like reach up, but it's like I'm not always wearing the pencil. If I'm like out in public, I'm not walking around with the pencil. I've got the clip in it right now, but that's just because it's like I just keep it there. But yeah, I'll be like at a check register, register in something like go to get a pen or whatever, and I'm like, oh, wait, no, it's not up there.
So I bought a whole case of measuring tapes, and I can't find any of them. Do you have a clip it for those?
Oh,
It's called the clip on the back of the tape measure.
Right.
That's true, right? Everybody.
Yeah.
That's the first thing to go in your shop.
Yeah. Tape measures. Yeah. That's, I feel like I probably have about 10 tape measures. Just
do they all end up in the same spot?
The same spot. Eventually? Yeah. Yeah. Not near
Where's that, by the miter station? Yeah.
No, it's like in a pile of whatever you're working on. You got like 4 of them sitting right there.
Off to the right, yeah.
Yeah. And you're like underneath the workbench, hidden.
There's that too. I've tried strategically placing my tape measures around the shop. Like, I come here very often. I come over here very often. But then I'm like, I need to measure this. And you're just like, I'm taking this with me. And then I've taken them inside.
Yeah.
I've left them inside, and I've literally scoured my shop. I'm like, where is the tape measure? And I'm like,
right.
At least your kids don't steal them and do tape measure races. They get them and they like push them all the way out, right? And they're side by side with each other, and they let them go. And man, I'm like, you guys are gonna cut yourselves. Stop doing that.
Right. And they start spinning around.
Yeah. They like jump in the air.
Yeah.
So moving on here. So packaging. Okay, so I bring up packaging because we've all had packaging woes. But you've made a reel or two. I've seen one of them, and I actually asked you, like, where do you get all this cool stuff for your packaging? But you have exceptional packaging. What are some tips for new makers and even experienced makers such as ourselves when it comes to packaging goods to send out?
I appreciate it. So it actually started when I was making a cutting board conditioner, and everybody was making the cutting board conditioner, wood, wax, whatever you want to call it. And everybody'd slap a label on their, tins and stuff. And I was like, well, I think I can do this like a little bit more, fancy instead of a label. So I got the tins engraved. So that's kind of how it like started. I was engraving the tins, and I thought, well, this looks pretty sharp. And then, so then when I went to do the pencil clip, I had some tins, and I was like, oh, maybe I could use the same tins for that. Actually, I wish I could reach it. I've got a different kind of tin that I'm probably going to end up using for the packaging for that look really sharp. They've got like a clear like window on them, so you could actually see the product. So I don't know. I've always just kind of like tried to make my stuff stand out, be a little bit different. Because I think, when a customer gets something, if you have nice packaging, then they know that you care about your product. We've all ordered things, maybe from Etsy or whatever, and it's just like whatever the product is, and you open it up and it's like popcorn. It's just like that popcorn stuff everywhere. To me, I mean, like if you're trying to protect something, you can do it that way, or you can, use like crinkled up paper and get the same kind of effect, and it's not as messy for the customer. So I try to think of like when I'm the customer and I'm opening something up, how do I want that product to be portrayed? I say that, but then you open up the pencil clips and there's crinkle paper on the inside. So I don't know.
Hey, I think your packaging is awesome, especially with the clips. I remember when I got mine at Workbench Con, I opened it. I'm like, it was just like that moment opening it, seeing it in there, the packaging, the little paper. It was perfect.
Thank you. Yeah. And then like I through Sticker Mule or something, I got like the packaging tape for the box. I think, just if you're going to send out a box, get your own packing tape. It's really not that expensive. And so, Sticker Mule has it. I think there's a discount code on my social media thing. But, use anybody's and just try that. Just get some packing tape, and that steps up your game right there. And then like if I send out, oh gosh, I wish I'd had this stuff handy next to me, but if I send out the clip it's in a craft colored padded envelope, and so everything is like natural colors. It's not like the manila yellow. So I just try to keep everything like natural, keep everything consistent with the branding.
May I make a suggestion about your packaging, whether it be paper or most likely popcorn, but you should sprinkle some glitter in there, spring load the inside, so when people open it, it just
surprise
with one of those little cameras, the surprise camera.
Congratulations!
Inside.
Yep, congratulations! You gotta clip it.
Oh man, that would, if I was a
with a beard full of glitter.
I'd be so mad.
A beard full of glitter.
I'd be so mad.
You could even, beard clippings, put them in there, whatever, right? It's all just
put the really fine gross sawdust in there.
Oh Lord,
that is kind of gross.
All right, but yeah, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah, you three are the most clean shaven woodworkers. I mean, because you're serving, but
have to be
on that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start integrating some of these questions in here from the listeners. So this is from B James Design. He says, where can we sign the petition to get the MPG mustache back?
Fun fact about the MPG mustache. I got to tell you, that was a fake mustache the whole time.
No, it was not.
You did not see me grow it, did you?
No.
Nap pulled on it a couple of times.
But I was also gone for a while, so
it was getting pretty gnarly underneath that mustache, let me tell you.
It was pretty full.
It was very full and thick.
Mm.
Thick with 2 C's.
Nap, you have more to add on that? It seems like there's a whole bunch.
No. We're going to leave that alone. We do have more questions, but I'll keep pressing and we'll hit some more of these questions that we have here. Some of them are pretty quick. But let's go with, okay, so all three of us, we all, have our families and whatnot. And obviously, Matt, you have your family. You deal with the Maker Community Project. You went to Workbench Con. You do all this stuff in the shop, all this stuff on social media. How do you balance that between your family time?
So I will say, learn from my mistakes. So I'll back up. I started the business in 2015. 2017, I was on a 6-month backlog, and I was out in the shop more than I was in the house. And so me and my wife were kind of like ships in the night. And so finally it came to a point where things were not good at home, right? Because I found myself committed more to the business than to my family. And so I shut the business down completely. So for 2 years, basically, it was like 20 months or something like that. So I shut down completely. I didn't fire up a table saw or anything. Everything was packaged away. And that was when I was doing all the built-ins and like just big projects. My last job, I did a full kitchen. And I told the people when I was doing it, they had flooded from Harvey. And I told them I can't be on a clock. Like I'm doing this on the weekend when I can. And so I would just encourage people to do a checks and balances, between your family. Like that's what's important. And tell your customers that do what I did when I came back. I tell people families first. And so if you've got an order that needs to be out by a specific deadline, then that's one thing. But at all costs, don't, like, I almost ruined my marriage because I was out there so much. And then everybody gets burned out. You get burned out just kind of burning the midnight oil, especially if you're working 2 jobs.
Yeah, I could definitely say
true story.
I felt that burnout.
So now I'm just like, if I have to go to somebody's house and measure or whatever, I check with my wife first. Hey, can I even look at this job? And so she's my business partner.
That's what's up. Employee
of the month. There we go.
Make That's another one.
I mean, she's not running the laser like other people's wives, but
show title, guys. Employee of the month.
I like it.
There you go.
Recognizing families. There we go.
Yeah.
No, I could definitely. I know, Nick, you've had your moments of burnout. You've even talked about it on the podcast. Josh, you've been the same. I've been the same. I think we're still learning that balance. So Matt will definitely probably keep that more in mind as we press forward, for sure.
It is a hard balance to find.
It's grueling, right? Like everybody says, you got to post once a day at minimum, right? Some people are like, post 2-3 times a day. You know what? Nobody on Instagram is going to care if you skip a day, right? Screw the algorithm. Don't do it for the algorithm. Do it for you. Yes, I like to. To me, it's kind of a game, right? Like, oh, what time can I post and everything like that. But if your wife is nudging you and saying you're on your phone too much, which my wife does that often, then it's time to put the phone away. And so, I'm speaking to myself too. It's just, you find yourself getting burnt out and like doing podcasts and doing, all this stuff all the time. And, it can definitely, build up.
Hashtag screw the algorithm. That's going on there too.
Screw the algorithm.
I keep changing it anyway. So
nobody knows what the algorithm's going on anyway. Yeah.
I hate them in IG. I hate them so much. All right.
Yeah. Why is that?
I don't like it. I make cool reels. At least I think so. I think they're cool. So they're cool. And they get like 200 views. I'm like, whatever.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. And I make one of throwing wood in a trash can and get 5,000. It's insane. I seriously made one of me throwing scrap wood into a trash can and asked people, what do you do with your scrap wood? Boom, 5,000. I'm like, come on, guys.
It's so messed up.
It's insane.
And they just redid something because I had a whole bunch of my old posts get knocked out there again. And I just got like a ton of likes and follows from that. You never know what they're doing with that damn thing. Like you can't, you can take a wild guess and even you're probably wrong.
2 reels back to back. I had one that now only has like 400 views. And that was posted like a week or 2 ago. And I've got one that has 70,000 views back to back. That makes no sense. So if you're trying to, and that's my highest performing reel of all time. And so if you're trying to satisfy the algorithm, I did nothing different between the 2 days. Did the exact same thing. It really, only they know. I do hear that skin. If you show a lot of skin, that gets a lot of views.
Well, if you want to hear the sore subject on that, I think AJ actually talks about that exact topic on his podcast. What is it? Off the Cuff podcast? Yeah, he there was a small rant about that. It's a good one. You should take a listen. It's not too long either.
All right, I'll do that.
But yeah, so we'll push into a couple more of these questions from our listeners here. And I'm going to go with B. James Design again because this one's a good one. It's getting hot in the shop. How are we staying cool? Because it is getting hot here finally in Texas. Stop being bipolar. So, how y'all staying cool? I mean, maybe not for Josh. Josh is probably still cold. But
yeah, is it ever cold in Texas? Yeah, it's cold for like 2 weeks in Texas. But like today, I'm drinking the air outside. So
it's true.
You don't have to stay hydrated. You just open your mouth and just walk. Yeah, it's so bad.
That is funny.
Seriously, it's bad. It's like a hydration or what do you call it? H2O money shot when you walk outside. Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I put spray and insulation in the shop. It probably brought the garage temp down by about 10 degrees. But it didn't, it's still humid, like without getting a dehumidifier and stuff like that. I'm going to eventually get a mini split put in there, but I got to finish getting the ceiling put in the garage first. Until I do that, it's not going to make sense to put a mini split in because if it's 100 outside, it's going to be at least 85 in the garage, which is too damn hot.
You just wait till summertime. Woo! It's nice and steamy.
Yeah. April's the time to do like everything, but then right now it's April 5th and it's 79 degrees out there.
I just put a big fan in my shop. My shop is a garage, so it's a big fan. That's it. Unless I'm surprised.
By the way, I went to the Base Exchange today and picked up 2 big fans. So they're really cheap there. By the way, if you haven't already, for those of you who have access to the Base Exchange, check it out. They're selling really cheap fans.
Well, you guys said it. I mean, like we get hot weather, but the employee of the month got for Father's Day a mini portable air conditioner that I can hook up in there. And
you got one?
Yep.
Sarah.
So, hey. I did that.
Josh
I did that, right? Yeah. Josh got an air conditioner. I have one, and it's great if you like, because when you open the garage, it cracks the top of the garage and the bottom. So you have to like you have to make something to where you just like plug the top and the bottom, and it'll work.
Pool noodle. Yep, throw it on the top. It's not perfect. If you have a garage door you're trying to seal, it's never going to be perfect. You got the size, the whole 9 yards. But what I did is I made the exhaust that goes out in the water, a little bottom board for that, so that it, fairly sealed. And then I took magnets that I bought off, like a roll of magnet that goes on the outside that seals it a little further on the bottom, and then the top. And then I use pool noodles to seal the top a little bit more, and it works fairly well. It keeps it cool. It cools it down enough where I can bear to be out there. So,
I have a buddy who did that in houses just like the ones I used to live in and you live in now. He got housing actually gave him a window unit because the power or like the air conditioner was jacked up for his house. So what he did was, he was an HVAC guy, so he fixed the air conditioning unit himself. And then he used that window unit and put it at the bottom of his garage and built like a
was it on my street by chance?
Well played.
No. But it works great because those wall units put out a lot of cold air. So
yeah, if you do it right, mine you wouldn't even know I have air conditioning other than the exhaust hole that you see coming out. The magnet back airing is completely white. My garage door is white, and like It makes it nice, especially when it starts raining. Those magnets help keep the water and stuff out too. So,
Neato, gang. Neato.
Good question. Good question. Good question, because yes, it is getting hot, so I appreciate that. Next question comes from Brush Fires of Freedom. So he makes flags, right? So he goes, any advice for me when I do my first challenge coin holding flag? So he's making challenge coin flags. I have a client who wants one of my flags, but wants me to add racks. What do you suggest? That's from Brush Fires of Freedom. Oh, Robert Lee over there.
Add racks.
Racks. But how would you add the racks?
No, so if you have a dado stack, you can make like 1/4 inch dado. And you could probably take a 3/4 of an inch or slightly less strip of wood. You're going to set your fence, run that dado forward more towards one edge of the rack. This way, the coin can lay backwards when it sits in the rack. And also, you can even cant the dado stack just a little bit too to give it a little bit of a helping hand, leaning backwards. Run strips of that, then take it to your miter saw and cut it to length. Good to go, man. But that's the way I do it. Sometimes I'll even run like a small little chamfer or something on the front to give it some depth or give it some form. But other than that, you can use a router table too. Josh, you use a router table, don't you?
No, that's a nap, I believe. But I do the same thing. I used to do the little canter for the coins, but I found the perfect gap, if you will, that makes sure that coins can lay back just fine. And then I also, it's like a 1/8 inch or less into the actual piece of wood I'm mounting the racks in. So they kind of go into that slot nice and good. I glue it up, and it holds really well that way too. So,
do you pin nail them or you just glue it?
No, I just glue it because usually do a flag. I have them carve out a slat for the racks. Like I said, it's about 1/8 inch in that gap with some, good glue. It's not going anywhere. I mean, like your rack's gonna snap in half where the dado is before it comes out of that groove.
So I've never made one, but so curious. Does a biscuit joiner, would that biscuit hold the coin, or is it too
That's an 1/8 inch, I believe. 1/8 inch is too thin for most coins.
Okay.
Military challenge coins. I think you have to go
It's like 0.3.
I think it's like 0.3 maybe of an inch. And that's not going to hold every one of them either. That's just going to be the more slender ones. I just go 1/4 inch, call it a day. Or 1/4 inch. Yeah, it's 1/4 inch. You can't go wrong with 1/4 inch.
No, unless you get like one of those
you have like
epoxy coins or whatever.
Even the epoxy coins, I don't think they go bigger than a 1/4 inch. A 1/4 inch is, it's pretty hefty for a coin. But yeah, long story short, dado works really well. You could also use a router, and I'm gonna throw it over a nap because I believe you use the router, don't you?
So I went back and forth. The router honestly sounds like I'm killing a cat every time I use it. So I just decided that because I don't use a data. Yeah. For your information, sir. No, so I like dado stacks. Okay, I only use those for finger joints. Dado stack actually freaks me out. I hate it for the simple fact that it's a bunch of carbide spinning in a circle, and if for some reason the nut comes loose, which I smoked that thing on there, I'm screwed. I don't think any amount of saw stop break will save me. So I use it as little as possible. So I actually single blade it because it is only 1/4 of an inch. So I just do 2 passes on the table saw now because it's actually pretty quick doing it that way at like, I would say maybe 1/4 of an inch in depth. So that's all I do. And then as far as attaching it, I'll either glue and pin nail from the back, and I mark a line where my racks are going to go. So I hit the meat of the rack, so I don't have it go through my channel. But other than that's really about it. Nothing too much crazier than what you all do. But yeah, that's what we got on that. So
it's a pain in the butt to use a dado for a 1/4 inch. It's not even worth rotating or changing I feel like changing the blades out. It's just a pain.
I'm used to it now. Yeah, I don't even think about it when I do it. I just, in the beginning, Yes, absolutely. I would groan and moan the entire time. But now it's just one of those things where I have a whole bunch I do at one time. So I do challenge coins a lot. So I'll do like, 8-foot section and I'll have them on the rack. So when I get these jobs, I just have to cut them to length and put them where they need to go.
That's
so
good.
I try to utilize the time when I had that data in there versus every time.
Yeah, so say, check it out there, Matt. When you get that saw stop together, you're going to be popping them blades off left and right because you're going to have to swap. You're not only going to have to swap the blades, you got to swap the brake too. So
Right.
you just got to get it's
saw-
just the cost of doing business now.
I saw one. Well, actually, God, what was his name? Oh, he's an actor, turned woodworker, or woodworker turned actor, something. But he has 2 table saws back to back, and so he's got one that's got his dado stack on it, and he uses one table saw for the outfeed of his other table saw. I was like, dang, why'd I get rid of my Delta? Because I could have done that and used, but
that's a lot. That's a lot to have in the shop.
It is.
Yeah.
But hey, Robert, if you want a hand or just want to even get on an Instagram video or something, man, and talk about it, we're all here. We can definitely help you out.
Talk about
Absolutely.
The process of making these coin racks, man.
what? Oh, racks.
Racks on racks on racks. But
Gang. There we go.
Racks on,
But hey,
racks
That's
off.
like a good rack.
so we had a couple other questions, folks, but I think we're getting pretty. We're getting along here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna save these last 2 questions for the next episode, and we're gonna start breaking it down for sponsors. So Nick,
Yeah. Hey, so folks, if you're in the market for a aftermarket CNC spindle, check out pwncnc.com. Daniel over there is hard at work to make the best product for everybody. Whether it's a Shea Poco, X-Carve, Onefinity, doesn't matter. Check him out. He's got the 1.5 kilowatt air-cooled and water-cooled spindles. I think they're even working on 2.2 kilowatt, aren't they?
yeah, he's got a 1.5 now actually. So he got the 2.2 that's about to come out. But if you are only getting it for the 1/2-inch collet, he's got 1.5s out with the ER20 collet on it now. So you'll be able to run the 1/2-inch bit. So it's pretty awesome.
All right. So with that being said, if you want 5% off your entire order at pwncnc.com, use promo code Sawdust Nation 981. Remember, folks, don't just own your CNC, dominate it. And next up, Total Boat. Thanks for your continued support. Check them out at totalboat.com for all of your epoxy needs. If you want a 10% off promo code for Total Boat, go ahead and shoot us a DM here at Sawdust Nation Podcast, and we will get you squared away. And last but not least, we have a new patron today, right? We have 2. We have Matt Voeltner and Hoyt Sunday. Thanks so much for your support. Remember, folks, if you are a patron, you get double the entries into our giveaways during our monthly lives, as well as we have some extra goodies lined up for you for our 100th episode coming up in May, I believe. That's May, right? May 26th. So I'm going to kick it on over to El Josho or Napo.
It's going to be El Napo for the Apple Podcast. So
El Napo.
if you're listening to us on the Apple Podcast, Spotify, any of the podcast catchers that you can find us on, go ahead and give us 5 stars. And if you don't give us 5 stars, let us know why. Because if you don't tell us what we're doing wrong or what you want, what you really, really want, we can't give that to you. So please go ahead and take a visit to the reviews and the old stars and give us 5 stars and let us know how we're doing.
Tell me what you want. What's it really?
So if you want to get a hold of us, Josh, tell them how they can get a hold of us.
Well, if you'd like to get a hold of our guest today, Matt Voeltner, you can get a hold of him on Instagram at Voeltner Woodworking. And then if you'd like to get a hold of us from the podcast, you can always get a hold of us at Sawdust Nation Podcast on Instagram, or individually with Nick from MPG Creations, Nat from Naps Nutty Works LLC, and myself, Josh, from North Country Woodworking. And if that's not enough, you could always get a hold of us on our email is sawdustnationpodcast@gmail.com. You can send us ideas for the podcast, voicemails for the podcast, or, just want to chat and see what's going on. It's a good way to go about it too. Lastly, the new setup we have, our Patreons in the top tier get to actually watch us during the recordings, and you can write to us live while we actually record. So that is instant gratification. You get to see your question answered right then and there. I think it's the best way of all. That's how you get a hold of us. Let's go with last words, starting with Matt.
Well, thanks guys for having me on. Appreciate it. Always good having, hanging out on a podcast. Last time I was on with the Make a Community Project, and so we talked a lot about that. So I appreciate you guys bringing me back.
Yeah, it was awesome having you. Thank you for giving us a little peek behind Voeltner Woodworking. I mean, because, your Make a Community Project last time, we didn't really get to hear much about you, so glad to have you on.
Yeah, so hopefully the new shop stuff comes off, as good as I planned it. We'll see.
We look forward to seeing what's going on with the shop, man.
I can't wait to see that setup video.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, I guess it's my turn now, huh? Yeah. All right. Hey, so real quick, if you've listened this far into the podcast, before I give my final words, there's an Instagram giveaway for one of Brent's router sleds, a 40x60. Okay. But he's also sweetened the deal. Okay. And since you've listened this far, you get to hear the promo code. It is a 5% off promo code on anything in Brent's shop, and it is SDNPod22, all caps. And that's actually going to go up to the 100th episode and maybe even further on. There is talks of possibly him joining us for a very long time. Look more here on that in the future. But my final words are, we've had a lot of good questions as far as like how we do things, and we've delivered. We've given you the answers, because guess what? We are about the community here at Sawdust Nation Podcast. We take care of our own, if you will. We're always around if you need us, whether it's just talk to us, talk shop, talk about processes, whatever the case may be. We're always here. So thanks for listening, and keep taking care of each other, Nick.
All right, folks, and like always, take care of yourselves and each other. And I have a little parting gift for you, some words of wisdom. Just remember, life is like toilet paper. You're either on a roll or you're taking from someone. So make it count.
That's a good one. I like it.
Thank you guys for joining us for the 93rd episode. Thank you, Matt, for joining us. And hopefully you guys can go ahead and turn us on when you're going to work, when you're making coffee, at work, in the shop, wherever you are. Hopefully you can listen to us. We can whisper in your ear and you can get a good laugh out of it. With that, I do have to say one thing. My mom wrote in a couple episodes back about, we were talking about glue, and we use Gorilla Glue for some of our shadow boxes. She suggested shoe glue. There you go, Mom. I love you. And with that, Sawdust Nation will be signing off. Until next time.
Okay, bye. See you later. Have a nice time.
Bye.
Oh, he's got toilet paper, folks.
Yeah, I almost lost it. He reached behind him.
It was the wrong time.
He's on a roll.
That's it.
Hey, did you guys know that diarrhea is hereditary? Yeah, it runs in your genes.
Oh, my God, dude.